The reigning National Player of the Year might be a bust. A projected #1 pick missed 11 games this season and kept pulling himself out of the lineup. And a projected first-round forward just put up one of the worst shooting performances the NBA Draft Combine has seen in years. Every June, the hype machine convinces us a draft class is bulletproof. And every June, some of these sure things fall flat. The 2026 class is genuinely loaded at the top. A Jay DeBonsa looks about as safe as a #1 pick gets. But behind him, this class is a minefield, and loaded with talent doesn't mean loaded with locks. So before these guys hear their names called on June 23rd, let's call our shots. These are the 5 prospects in the 2026 NBA Draft most likely to bust. Number 5. Keaton Wagler. Wagler was one of the best stories in college basketball this season. The Illinois combo guard came out of nowhere, averaging almost 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, and shot himself all the way up draft boards into the lottery conversation. Scouts fell in love with his shot-making and his feel for running an offense. But the Combine raised a giant red flag. When Wagler got measured and tested against the other top guards in this class, his athletic numbers didn't measure up. And that's the problem. In college, he could create space and bully smaller defenders. In the NBA, where every guard is a freak athlete, a player who can't separate and can't blow by anyone tends to get swallowed whole. We've seen this movie before. The college scoring guard whose game just doesn't have an NBA caliber gear. Wagler might be the next one. Real quick, if you're enjoying the breakdown, smash that like button. It genuinely helps the channel out. Number 4. Koa Peat. For most of this past season, Koa Peat was a lock to be a first-round pick. A powerful 5-star forward who helped lead Arizona all the way to the Final Four. The frame is NBA ready, the motor runs hot, and he bullies people inside. Then came the Combine, and it was brutal. Peat put up one of the worst shooting performances in recent Combine history. 6 for 25 in the spot-up drill, dead last among everyone there. His shooting form was, in the words of people in the building, the talk of the Combine, and for all the wrong reasons. An undersized teammate of his outshot him. And here's why that matters so much. Peat is a 6'8" forward who can't shoot, isn't a primary creator, and isn't a rim-protecting defender. In today's NBA, a tweener forward with no jump shot and no standout skill is the exact profile that washes out. He's already slid down multiple mock drafts since the Combine, with some analysts now wondering if he's even a first-round pick anymore. Number 3. Jayden Quaintance. On talent alone, Quaintance is a top 10 pick. He's a freaky athlete with a 7'5" wingspan, a genuine rim protector who was blocking shots and dominating the paint in a power conference as a 17-year-old. The defensive tools are absolutely real. But there are 2 enormous problems. The first is health. Quaintance tore the ACL and meniscus in his right knee, and the recovery has been rocky. He managed just 4 games this past season before knee swelling shut him back down. He's what scouts call a medically dependent prospect, and teams are going to be nervous betting a high pick on a big man's surgically repaired knee. The second problem is the part nobody can blame on injuries. He can't shoot. For his college career, Quaintance is a 56% free throw shooter, and he was under 48% as a freshman. He hit just 1 of every 6 catch-and-shoot threes. A big who can't make free throws can literally be fouled off the floor when the games matter most. Elite defense gets you drafted, but a major medical history plus a broken jumper is exactly how a lottery pick turns into a bust. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me which one of these I've got completely wrong, and which prospect I left off that you think is walking into a disaster. Number 2. Darryn Peterson. Make no mistake, Peterson is supremely talented. The Kansas guard was the first freshman in school history to average 20 points a game, and he can score from all 3 levels as well as just about anyone in this class. For most of the last 2 years, he was the betting favorite to go number 1 overall. But this season was a giant red flag waving in everyone's face. Peterson played in just 15 of Kansas's 26 games, dealing with a hamstring injury, an ankle problem, and cramping so severe it repeatedly knocked him out of action. Worse than the missed games was the pattern. He kept removing himself from the floor, sitting entire second halves, sometimes after dominating the first. He'd pour in nearly 14 points before halftime, then watch that scoring nearly get cut in half after the break because his body simply kept breaking down on him. Now, he's since said the cramping was tied to a bad reaction to creatine, which is a fair explanation. But NBA teams are still going to dig hard into those medicals, and will he even be available is the single most dangerous question you can have hanging over a top pick. Availability is the difference between a superstar and a cautionary tale. And number 1, the prospect I think is most likely to bust, Cameron Boozer. Now hear me out, because this one is going to make people mad. Boozer was the National Player of the Year as a freshman. He averaged 22 points and 10 rebounds a game, led the entire country in box plus minus, and he's a projected top 3 pick. On paper, he's about as decorated as a college player gets. Here's the catch. Almost everyone agrees Boozer has the safest floor in this draft. And for a top 3 pick, safe is not a compliment. The knock on him is athleticism. He's not an explosive leaper. He lacks a quick first step, and at the combine, he measured almost identically to Al Horford. On defense, he's not a real rim protector, and quicker players get around him. His entire game is built on overpowering smaller college kids with raw strength. The problem is that bully ball stops working when everyone is bigger, longer, and more athletic than you are. The most likely outcome for Boozer isn't that he's bad, it's that he settles in as a solid, unspectacular starter. And when you spend a top 3 pick expecting a franchise centerpiece and you get a good role player instead, that is the definition of a draft bust. The gap between his hype and his ceiling is the widest in this entire class. So there's the list. Keaton Wagler, Koa Peat, Jayden Quaintance, Darryn Peterson, and my number 1 bust candidate, Cameron Boozer. 5 guys with real talent and real hype, and real reasons to think the NBA is going to be a much tougher test than college ever was. Subscribe to the channel, because once the draft is done and these guys are in the league, we'll find out together who was right. And drop your boldest bust prediction in the comments. Let's see who's actually onto something come next season.